Bava Metziah Daf Kuf tests by the Mishnah and Daf Kuf test on Aleph. Hamekabil Sada Mechavere the Shanim Wadis. A person who receives a field from another to cultivate it for a few years. In other words, less than 7 years. The halacha is, in other words, that's how he gets paid. He may not plant flax in it. Why? Because flax weakens the soil, and if a sycamore tree is growing in the field, he does not have the rights to the beam fashioned for the branches of the sycamore tree. So therefore, he may not cut down his branches for its own use, as it may take many years for the new ones to grow, and he doesn't have that right. However, if he received the field from him for 7 years, the first year he may plant flax in it. He does have rights to the beams fashioned from the branches of the sycamore tree. Gemara, Omar Abaya says, B'kei shikma ein loy, v'shevach shikma yesh loy. Now, even though he does not have the rights to the beams fashioned from the branches of the sycamore tree, he does have the rights to the value of the enhancements of the sycamore tree. In other words, the value of its growth that occurred while it was cultivating in the field. But he does not have the rights to the value of the enhancements of the sycamore tree. So, it says, one person receives a field from another to cultivate, and his time to leave arrives, so the court appraises the value for him. My love, what does this mean? It's not that the court appraises for him the value of the enhancements of the sycamore or another tree. The Gemara says, the Beis Din appraises for him the value of the vegetables and the beasts left in the field. So the Gemara says, Yarkav Isilko, if you're referring to vegetables and beets, let him uproot and take them. So the Gemara explains, it's talking about a case where the market day has not arrived, so that if he uproots them now, he will not be able to sell them. He therefore leaves them for the owner of the land and receives money instead. So the Gemara tells Shema, I'll bring another ayah from a brayso. A case of a person who receives a field from another to cultivate, and Shvis, the sabbatical year, arrive, Shamalai, the Beis Din praises for him. So the Gemara expresses puzzlement over the brayso itself. Shvis mikam afkana aro. Does the sabbatical year release land from the one who contracted to cultivate it? The arrangement is in effect during this time. So why does he need an appraisal? Rather, it's the case of one who receives a field from another to cultivate. And now the Yevel arrived. Shamalai, the Beis Din appraises it for him. Freddy, one of Akati, but still, Yevel mikum afkanas kavonas. Does Yevel year release the term of a contractor? The Tzmisis Amar Rahman of the Torah says permanently. It indicates that only the land that was permanently sold returns to its owner, whereas land that was rented does not revert to the owner of the Yevel. Rather say, in the case of one who purchases a field from another and the Yevel arrives, Shamalai, the Beis Din appraises it for him. And if you say the here means that the Beis Din appraises it for him, Shamalai b'Yarkav v'Silko, can it be as vegetables and beets and the Yevel are Silka b'Yarkav is b'Yevel of Kida, Sefker? Ella must be Shevach Shikma, must be that the enhancement of the value of the sycamore that occurred during the time that I had owned the field, and therefore presents a Shalan Rava. So talking about Abaya lived at Rava, Abaya interpreted the brayso in accordance to the opinion of the one who he's chedek on Rava. Shani Yosam, there is different. Omar Kura, the pasuk says, "V'yotzim yimkar bayis." Then the house that is sold shall go out. It teaches that the house of the field that was sold, Mimkar Chayzer, the soul returns to its owner, Shevach Yeni Chayzer, where the value of the enhancement is not returned, remains with the buyer. So the Gemara says, V'nigmar minei, let us derive from it, general halacha, the value of the enhancement need not be returned. So my answer is, husbands v'nimaliyo, the two cases are this similar as there in the brayso is a full-fledged sale. and the Yovel released is the release of the king. Since the buyer had been in full ownership of the field, keeps the value of the enhancement that occurred while it was his. So whatever sees a field to cultivate is not the owner. Papa Kabul Aro Las Pasto. Papa received land as a contractor for growing hay. Kedachu Beitali. During the time he was cultivating, the palm tree sprouted in the ground. Amar Lahu, when he left the land, when he left the land, Amar Lahu, he said to the owner of the field, Havali Shvacha. Give me the enhancement of the field from the palm trees. So he said, if your claim is justified, then in a situation where there was a palm tree and it grew thick, so too would the master of the papa want to be paid for the value of the tree as enhancements. So the papa said to him, there the cultivator did not descend to the field with the possibility in mind, as the cultivator considered only the consumption of the date palm fruit, not its growth. Here, in my case, I did indeed descend to the field with this in mind, as I anticipated it receiving compensation for the growth of the field. According to whose opinion did he make this statement? It's Kabaya. It's not according to Abaya, the Omer B'Sheva Shikma Yeshlei. I'm sorry, Kabaya, the Omer B'Sheva Shikma Yeshlei. So when it says, no, I feel that they make it over, also unless they Pseda. There's no Pseda, Achalik Pseda. As the palm trees, the sprouted occupied space designated for hay. Here too, the owner of the field can say, what loss have I caused you? I have caused you to lose a handful of hay. Take a handful of hay and go. So we said to him, I claim that I grew garden saffron here. He claimed that he lost the land and he could have used the cultivation of expense produce, not only the hay. Amar Lei, Rav Shesha said to him, Galis daidif mishko bastul avdich. Even so, you admit that you wanted the land of other plantings, not to plant palm trees, and you have thereby revealed the intention that you acted as to take the produce and leave. Shkel korel ishko bezil. Take your garden of saffron and leave. In the Kolel, you only have the value of the wood alone. Since you did not mean to grow these trees, you are entitled only to the price you should have received for the palm trees that you have uprooted them and sold them as a wood during the time you have cultivated the fields. Rabbi Rabbi received land to cultivate it, and he surrounded it with a fence made of earth. In the meantime, a tree spread on it. When he left the field, he said to the owners, give me the value of my enhancement of the trees that spread. So he said, because you come from the unfortunate people, that you say unfortunate and unsound words. Abaya's family came from the family of Eli, whose descendants were sentenced to die at a young age. So it says, or Papa explains, even when the Papa said that he's entitled to the value of the enhancement when he has suffered a loss. Here, what loss did he occur? As a tree spread in a place that would have been left unplanted. You have not lost anything, and you're not entitled to compensation. The Gemara says, Rav Yosef had a certain planter whose job it was to plant trees. He died and left behind 5 son-in-laws. Until now, Zubesif said, until now I had to deal with only one person. Now there are 5. Till now, they did not rely on each other to plant the trees, and did not cause me a loss, as the responsibility was on their father-in-law. But now that they have 5, they rely on each other and plant the trees, it caused me a loss. Rabbi Yisrael said to them, if you take the value of your enhancement that you brought to the field, and you remove yourself, mutav, all is well. If not, I will remove you without giving you the value of the enhancement. To go to the plant who died, Yershin delay the inheritors may be removed without receiving the value of the enhancement. La Milsi, the Gemara says it's not correct, as the Allah is not according to his opinion. There was a certain planter who said to the owner, if I cause a loss to the vineyard by ruining its plants, I will leave the field. Ultimately, he did cause a loss to the plants, but some inhabitants, the time he began, did still exist. If Kana said, he leaves without receiving payment to the enhancement. He said that if I cause a loss and I will leave without receiving payment to the enhancement, he indeed leaves without receiving payment to the enhancements. Rav says, Asmachta is loy kanya. What's the difference if he said, if I let the field lie fallow and not cultivate, I'll pay with the best quality produce, in which case he's obligated to fulfill the promise. Or it says, there he pays the loss for what it cost. Here we deduct from him the loss that he caused, and we gave him with the other portion of the money. He does not forfeit all that was due to him just because some of the plantings were unsuccessful. Runya was the planter of Ravina. He caused the loss, and Ravina removed him from the field. He said, let the master see what Ravina had done to me. Amlu Shabar of it. Ravina did well. As he caused him a loss, Amle, Allah used to be, but he didn't warn me beforehand. How can you force me to leave without prior warning? Amle, lay, Sidifin Lasru, said, I have to warn you why. What about Makri, the darky, Shatuti Tabachimuni. A teacher of children, a planter, a ritual slaughter, or a bloodletter, the Safa Masan, and a town scribe who drafts documents on behalf of local residents, all these are considered forewarned. Therefore, any loss occurred due to them is deducted from the wages. They are fine without the need for prior warning. With regard to any loss that is not recoverable, all considered forewarned. There was a certain planter, the Awar Lahu, who said to the owner of the field, give me the value of my enhancement because I wish to ascend to Eretz Yisrael. The owner said, give the planter the value of the enhancements. He said, did he alone enhance the field while the land did not enhance on its own? I'm telling you that he's entitled to have the value of the enhancement. So he says, until now the owner of the land would take half the planter and take the other half. Now the owner also needs to give a portion to the sharecropper. I'm telling you to give him 1/4 of the value of the enhancement, half of the sum to which he's entitled. So Rashi thought to say that when he referred to 1/4, he meant Reviu Denakta, 1/4 that is 1/6. What is the tiltil? In the location where the planter takes half of the fruit and the sharecropper takes 1/3, with regards to the planter who wants to leave, we give him his share of the value of the enhancement that are moving in such a manner so that the homeowner will suffer no loss. Granted, if you said that he meant 1/4, that is 1/6, so then the shepherds, well, and the calculation are in order. But if you see that's referred to actual quarter, the homeowner suffers the loss of half 1/6. So let the planter say to the owner, you give your portion to the sharecropper, and I will do what I wished with my portion. In other words, I perform my half of the work properly, so why should I suffer loss because you want to pay the sharecropper? Amar Kimatis the shit discussion Tov actually. It says when you come to the slaughter of the sacrificial animals, or in other words, receptive Zvachim, come and ask this child. In other words, your question is a good one, worthy of difficult, receptive, full of complex reasons such as Zvachim. Kufa Amra Nechumim. Basa the Shokal Shatola Paga Wadi Sitalta. The location of the planter takes half the fruit and the sugar or 1/3. Ashtola the Moilis Tolki with regards to the planter who wants to leave. Yavinle Shvacham Askinle Kate and the leaves of the Balabais. We give him a share of the value of the enhancement and remove in such a manner so that the homeowner would suffer no loss. Our enemy did actually crave for the Sava, old wine, Stuffa the Palga half. Stuffa Nahara, the river flooded, and the vineyard of the owner of the planter come to divide the trees that fell down. Riva, the planter receives 1/4. Ugav the Mashkin Parda Silachare La'asar. There was a certain man who mortgaged an orchard to another. The credit for 10 years. The orchard aged 5 years and no longer produced quality fruit. So the only way to proceed was to cut down its trees and sell them as wood. Baya Omar paid to have it. Baya says the wood is considered produce of the orchard, therefore the creditors entitled to cut them down and sell them. Omar kind of have it. Rava said the wood is classified as principal, as therefore viewed as part of the orchard itself. Karka. Rava kind of have it, but they get by Karka and Kohen Chlepetis. So it said, but the other land is purchased with the profits of the sale. The creditor consumes the products until the land is repaid. Meisved that's the Shaila. Yavashid and Anixus. The tree drawn up or they're chopped down. It's forbidden for both the Malv and the Levat to take for themselves. Gates of the Yasu, which they do. Yimachru the Eitzim. It's sold for wood. It's not in Karka. They should buy land. Who is my love? Yovish the Midanitzes. My Nixus was Manafim, which was what I tell you. You'll Ben Karka will place. What do we see? Karna. What do we see? It's considered part of the principle, not the profits. Here, this is supported Rov's opinion, and Zushal on a buy it. What says like Nixus to me? The Yovish, my Yovish believes one, and Nixus believes one. Tashwan also make fun of his Asim. If a woman after marriage had old vines and olive trees, and she got a Yerusha by her, then the halacha is such trees are sold as wood, and the land is acquired with them, and the husband consumes the produce while the land itself belongs to the wife. So the Gemara says, Ema v'yiskinu, say, and they grew old, meaning that the trees were not old when she inherited them, but they aged with the passage of time. We're not talking about where the vines or olive trees were given to her as Yerusha in a different field that did not belong to her. The Kokal Yakarna, and talking about a case that the husband taking all of them would consume the principal entirely. Therefore, it must be sold as wood. The proceeds used to purchase the land.